Welcome to Module 2, where we will learn more about classroom screen features and advanced tools. Okay, welcome this evening, this morning, wherever you are. We will be jumping into deeper detail on classroom screens functionality and deeper into its features and how the program is used and can be utilized in the classroom. So we're back at the home screen, and I want to go ahead and click on my Sandbox 2 icon right here and dive straight into the application. Now you will notice on your screen that I have a moving image as my background, and if you want to go ahead and change that, one other icon that I want to make you familiar with is here at the bottom. There is a small arrow that will go ahead and pop open your dock with your widget screen. Now these are the 12 basic widgets that I had discussed in last module, and the first one you will see on your left hand side is the background images. Now this offers over 30 images to choose from, some of which are animated and of course some of which are still. I will go ahead and go with a static image, a nice green hint here, and we can go ahead and dive into some more widgets over here. Now, one really cool thing about this application, starting with, let's say, the polling, if I want to go ahead and utilize my touch screen, I could size it on the screen, drag it where I need to go, make the application widget as big as I'd like it to be for my students to see on the smartboard. And of course, the application also has the ability to create an automatic yet immovable QR code to join into a polling application on their devices. Now this is really cool when you want to have students mobily join into a session where you could check for understanding, but I think it works really well when you want to make the application accessible to the users upon entering the classroom. So let's say some students want to be checked for possibly how they're doing today. You could ask the students right then and there. Now I am using an iPad to record my screen and to access the touchscreen capabilities of this application. So I will ask my students how they are doing today. Now, of course, this application can be changed into different types of questions. As seen here on the left, I am asking a multiple choice question as of right now, but if I want to change it into smiley faces, possibly a true and false question, and well, for a question like how they're doing today, we could change the types of rating systems over here. Now, of course, if I scroll down, I am able to close the voting, open the voting, hide the results, and of course, more importantly, change how the user would like to interact with the screen. If I would like for the remote viewing to be taking place, to offer the QR code and or website for the students to interact with, or both. Preferably, I like to have the students walk in and interact with my question. So that way we could see the polling, and if they decide that they're having a bad day, let's say they click the sad face button, maybe a student walks in, they're having a good day. Maybe 4 other students walk in and they are having a decent day. And of course, we could hide these results by pressing right here on our eyeball. And of course, lock the screen into place. Now let's say we are going to move this widget over here. Another important thing to note is down here on the right-hand corner, I am able to add multiple pages. As you can see here, the default image that is brought up is an animal character, which the students could find very amusing, and I could change that right off the back back to a neutral image, possibly something else related to history, something that the students may not be distracted with at all. Next, moving on two very also important widgets, such as the name randomizer. I'll go ahead and click that next. I am, of course, displaying on my second screen. I will be moving back to my first. I'm now going to click on this widget, drag it to where I want it to be. Now, this goes back to Module 1, where we entered our sample class, and I will go ahead and select my sample class. That is, of course, very important if you have multiple periods working with different students. If you have the same students all day, possibly in an elementary school setting, this could come in very much handy for you. I will go ahead and click that. And here, I could also pick students that have been chosen before or students that not be chosen again. I could clear all that at once or select a student, one student at a time, and of course, select a color scheme. Utilization of the randomizer comes with potentially cold calling on students or having students participate in a fun and interactive way. Moving on, we do have the ability to generate potential QR codes. I do utilize this in the next module as far as generating pictures or other documents that students could possibly access for supplemental aid. We also have the ability to clear our space if we do not want to move on to the next widget, which we have already introduced several. One of a favorite is, of course, when it comes to managing classrooms, it's the ability to allow the application to access your microphone and or you turn it off at will. You can control the noise level within your classroom to maximum noise, which will not be so sensitive, and of course to being very sensitive. And using this application, you are able to change the sounds within the timer, or I'm sorry, the alert that the students have exceeded their volume levels in the classroom, and of course the number of times the students have done so in the event that there is a procedure in your classroom that notifies the students that they have gone over the limit so many times and that there will be a consequence as of such. Moving on, we'll go ahead and close that app, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the three applications down here, which allow us to, of course, enter an image, which, unlike the QR code, which we are able to hide and have the students possibly look something up, we are here now adding three different widgets where we could display text, upload an image of our choice. Perhaps we want to lay out our possible content and language objectives. We are, of course, able to size that, and we are able to change the font within the text box, change the size of the font, add bold, italicize, and underline, center, basic word processing features on a manipulating smartboard, and which is fully customizable to our liking. Now, of course, our image options, which I really do like, we are able to add GIF files. We are also able to draw on the screen, which for smartboards and the new line smartboards which are available in our room allow students to come up to the board and physically draw if that is what the lesson plan is calling for. The next widget I would like to show, and I will go ahead and change the screen to, of course, demonstrate that, are the work symbols, which allow the teacher to display nonverbal communications to the student as far as the expectation to be set in the classroom while the teacher could be delivering instruction, asking the students to do small group activities and or larger group activities. which also work in tandem with potential timers that the teacher could set, and of course size to have the students visually see. And of course this is a beautiful way to distribute more applications, such as, which is a personal favorite, which I think should be a procedure demonstrated from the beginning of class, potentially somewhere on your wall, where we could show the expectation in the classroom as far as student interactions with the teacher. Perhaps the red light already signifies that computers or mobile devices are to be closed. Perhaps the yellow light in our traffic light could mean that computers could be on the desk and are open, but the expectation is that no students will be speaking with one another, which could be set back over here with our silence visual. And of course the green light, which could also work in tandem with the expectation that students are able to possibly move freely about the classroom, devices are allowed, and the noise levels, which with our sound level need not to be worried about. Of course, we could also set that expectation with our noise level meter. And of course, this concludes the basic functions. I will now move on to the more advanced widgets here at the bottom. Before we continue on to the conclusion of this video, I do want to make a note for those of you watching that at the bottom right of your screen is the word edit. And when you toggle this switch on, the user is able to edit the favorite widgets on the top 12 of the user bar. You are able to click and drag whichever widgets that you feel are most necessary to the needs of your lesson. It's as simple as that. We're going to go ahead and continue on to the next set of widgets, which I will go ahead and change my screen. And I will go ahead and continue on to which has been undeniably a fan favorite of this application in the classroom, which is the Group Maker application. So as soon as you click Open Settings and have clicked where you want your Group Maker widget to be on your smartboard, you can go ahead and select the class that you'll be creating groups out of, select the number of groups that you wish to create from 2, which will of course divide your students into 10 students each group, up to 20, which would contain 1 student, which is not ideal, so you want to keep it somewhere where it is manageable. Let's go ahead and create 6 groups. I will hit create. If the students cannot see this app, you could of course expand it. You can color code each group so that way each student recognizes their group and group numbers. So if they need to move about the classroom, you can go ahead and change that expectation for them as well. You could change the font size and of course your color scheme. Simple as that, and this is extremely helpful in the classroom. I will go ahead and continue on onto the next 3, which is, I will move on to my next page, which is the embedded widget, the hyperlink, and the video widget. All 3 of these are going to be utilizing links from the web to put all into one screen. I have already looked up 3 different sets of codes, and I will go ahead and put them now to show you what it looks like once they are copy and pasted onto the smartboard. I'll go ahead and begin with the embedded app, which I have looked up a code for a quizzes game to be manipulated onto the smartboard. I'll go ahead and paste that here. Once you are able to run the code, quizzes then opens up. And once that opens up, you are able to click and drag that anywhere on the smartboard for students to access with ease, and of course expand that as needed to have the students engage with the activity on the board. Now, if you would like to place all of your, for instance, Google Slides, you may also grab your predetermined links to any Google Forms, Google Slides, or similar links. Grab the URLs, copy them, go to your smartboard, and of course planning with this all can go back to having just an iPad, and you paste and click everything onto a note as I have done. You generate every link and place each Google Doc and or file as a hyperlink onto the Classroom Screen application. Lastly, I have gathered a possible supplemental visual aid, and once you have gathered the link, copy it, link, you go back, go to the widget, and the same as before, click the URL into the widget and it will open up as such, and then you are able to play it all on one screen once you have your lesson all planned out in front of you. Finally, I'll be talking about the last 4 widgets that I want to discuss that are very important in visual aids for students, such as the timetable widget, as well as the visual timer, and the event countdown, which is not insanely necessary, but it is fun to have in case students want to remember important dates that are coming up, possibly 6 weeks, due dates, 3 weeks, progress reports, and or holidays that are upcoming, and or school events. Let us start with, of course, the timetable app, which is great for setting agendas. I'm going to go ahead and name this one Agenda. And of course, you could set that by time schedule and or checklist, and you are able to add each activity and enter the name of each activity. For example, the first activity on the agenda for today is our classroom entry ticket. You are able to delete and add them as you wish, and continue on, of course, with color schemes to make it more personalizable. Next, I will go ahead and discuss the visual timer, which is great for students who need visual aids as far as countdowns to certain classroom, possibly agenda to-do lists. Great for that. And lastly, the event countdown timer, which I had mentioned earlier, is a great way to show students upcoming events. In this case, I will go ahead and type in Thanksgiving. And of course, it will have a process countdown. And of course, the end date will be, of course, in November. Going to hit 24th, I believe, 2023. And according to this, we have 66 days until that. And every day, if you would like to start your classroom with a possible refresher, reminder on that, you can go ahead and do so. Lastly, I want to discuss one very cool widget, which down here is the Dice app. But before I do so, I'm going to go ahead and clear my board of my 3 widgets on the screen. One quick correction from earlier. November 24th is actually not Thanksgiving, that is November 23rd. Let's go ahead and pull up our Dice app. Go ahead and move that to the top center of the screen. I will go ahead and add a second Dice app. And a very cool thing with this widget is that you are able to interchange between 9 different types of dice. We have our single, double, and triple dice. We have our positive and negative numbers over here. We have our operations, a color-coded cube with a circle in the middle with different colors, and a 12 and 20 sided die. Let's go ahead and change this one to a 1. Let's see, 12 sided die, and I'm going to change the other one to a 12 sided die. And I am going to go ahead and add a third, which will be my operations die. Now let me go ahead and change that. Now this is great for students who are practicing math skills on the interactive board. And let's say we are going to add another widget so the students may interact. Go ahead and click and drag this down where the students can actually work out the operation. Now let me select my operation. They will be dividing 10 by 14 in this case. And of course we could change the operation, which now it is 10 minus 14. And of course the students can come down here and work out the problem as such and go ahead and manipulate the screen as is. Thank you for joining me this evening. I will go ahead and move on to the next module. We will learn how to apply this in an instructional lesson plan. Thank you.